what we're up to. But, oh, there we go. Oh, I'm going to say yes. There we go. So it's 1 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. My name is Antony Bartlett. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Real Plans. This is Katie Thompson. She's the Chief Operating Manager of Real Plans. And between the two of us, we do a whole bunch of stuff around here, and not least to inspire people to eat good food consistently. And we've been doing this for 7 years and trying to figure out the best meal planner we can to deliver you guys. Today, we're going to be having a little walk through Real Plans, checking stuff out and what have you, but we're going to really dive into some tips and tricks. And some of these have come from you guys telling us how to use our own software, which is pretty awesome. And, you know, just understanding how things, you know, there's some really great ways of using Real Plans that I learned a new one today myself. So, didn't even know. You know, when you create a tool, you don't know how people are actually going to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our faces off here, and I'm going to replace it with a view of Real Plans itself. So Katie, what does the poll say?
Looks like about 2/3 have used Real Plans before, so I think they're maybe sneaking in, coming to see what kind of fun tips we have for them today.
Great. So we'll be doing that. And then the other third have never seen Real Plans before at all. So welcome to you guys as well. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to do like a quick 5-minute, you know, around Real Plans, just show you what's what. And then we'll dive into some tips and tricks so that everybody gets something out of this meeting. Sound good, Katie?
Sounds great.
All right. So here we go. This is what Real Plans looks like. It's a meal planning software. It doesn't deliver anything to you, although you can have the ingredients from the shopping list sent to you by Instacart if you're in that kind of region. This is the shopping list here, and it's based on a diet and a schedule that you have told Real Plans that you want to follow. And then this comes up with a suggestion of what to eat that week. And then this whole plan here gets consolidated in a shopping list that has a list of ingredients that comprise all the ingredients, obviously, of what's on the plan. Now, on first look, that's it. That's all there is to it. But once you start diving down a little bit, you realize that there's actually a lot of flexibility and ability to make this meal plan suit you, as opposed to you having to fit around the meal plan. So, first of all, if this is a suggestion, you can just remove things that you think aren't going to be something that you want to do. And instead of that, and the reason I did this is minimize things. You can see all the pictures, which is kind of nice. And you'll notice here that there are yellow symbols. This means that this is a leftover. So you can make some Korean chicken and summer veggie stir fry the night before and then have it for lunch the next day. That's part of the selection that I had picked in my schedule. So you can remove things once you're looking at the meal plan. You can also decide, we have an abundance of bananas because I overshot bananas, and I am going to make some of those on Tuesday night. I'm going to make some banana bread. Or the other way around is like, I'm going to make some banana bread because it's going to be a celebration of some kind. So you can add stuff. And in here you can, you know, go through and say the entrees. And, oh, here's a good one. You can say, show me everything that's just got 3 ingredients in it. And by 3 ingredients, we mean 3 of the main ingredients, not like the garlic powder or something like that. And so from here, then you can go, ooh, that looks good. I'm going to add buffalo shredded chicken, go in there. You can always click on it anywhere, either from here or there, and have a look at it and go, oh, that's nice. And then you go, oh, Real Plans has even suggested some sides with this. Parsnips, I haven't had parsnips in a while. I'm going to add that as well. There we go, boom. And also, if you wanted to eat this again the next day, you can simply just move this over here, and it'll say, do you want to have this as a leftover, or do you actually want to move the recipe? No, I'll have it as a leftover. And then that's where that little yellow symbol comes from, and maybe the parsnips too. And when you do have a leftover, of course, it doubles up the portion size. Here I've got it set for 4 people. Now I'm making buffalo shredded chicken for 8, and then I'm going to eat the other 4, because it's leftover portions of 4 over here. So when you open the fridge, now you actually have some leftovers. So then over in the shopping list, you can, check off ingredients, and, as you walk around, and this is on an iPhone and Android, of course, you can check off ingredients and say, well, you know what? I keep bees in my garden, if you are so inclined and a homesteady kind of person, and you can say, stop telling me to buy honey each week because I always have it. Alternatively, you could go through and you could say, you know what? I always want honey. So I'm going to say, I always want honey, and I want to make sure that it's in my pantry at all times, so it goes with my herbal tea. And so here I can just say, I'll buy this every week. And so now honey will appear every week, and you can just check it off. Just make sure that you've got honey in your pantry, and there's a reminder of those. I mean, I do this with almond butter. I always make sure that I have almond butter in my pantry. Katie, you're back on. What is one thing you always make sure that you have in your kitchen?
We always have yogurt.
Yogurt? Okay. And can you ask everyone what is the one thing that they always want to make sure they have in their kitchen, regardless of what recipes they're cooking? That's kind of I've never done that before. That's kind of an interesting thing to hear what people consider to be a mandatory item in their kitchen. But you can add this to your shopping list and kind of do your thing. All right. So that's basically the main mechanics of Real Plans. And then we go into here. This little cog here is a very important thing for you to know that you can do. You just click on this cog. And of course, it's got the usual profile and all that kind of stuff from like normal websites. But then if you go to my plan, this is where the magic really happens. Remember I told you that meal plan was based on a diet? Well, that's my diet there. I'm gluten-free. So you can change that if you like. Say I'm gluten and dairy-free. But you can also in here say, well, all right, so you've excluded these food groups, but I don't really like coconut. I'm not into coconut. And maybe you're into something that's not even a food group. It's a subset of a food group. Like, what did someone told me today? Oh, they don't eat broccoli. Never heard of someone not eating broccoli, but there we go. So you can find all the variants of broccoli. And you can say, I don't want broccoli either. So now you click save, and now you're making an adjustment to a diet. And you can change this as often as you want. So now you're saying, I am dairy-free, gluten-free, coconut-free, and broccoli-free. That's my diet. So what we're saying there is, it's not just what you can't eat, for whatever reason, but it's what you don't want to eat as a family. You don't want to keep being offered recipes for things that you just don't eat. I mean, it's very offensive to get a plan for something you don't eat, because eating food is a personal, intimate relationship with how you nourish yourself and how you nourish your loved ones. And so we're on to you. We're wanting to make this so that the recipes that you get are actually something that you're into. Okay, so then you got the schedule here, and you can, say how many times do you actually cook a different recipe each night, and do you want leftovers or not? And be very, people who do this, 7 recipes every night, and I want leftovers, and I want a whole bunch of lunches, and it then becomes an untenable shopping list with 300 ingredients, and there are very edge cases where someone might do that, but a lot of people are around in this area, 3 or 4 recipes. Maybe they just want to have the leftovers from dinner. Maybe they want to try a few breakfasts, whatever, and then you can go off and do your thing. So that's kind of the basic premise of what Real Plans is about. We're creating a diet that's very specific to you. We're creating a schedule that's specific to you. And then you have a starting point. And here I'm saving it and then updating my plan. And now I have a new meal plan that I can still mess around with. And, the reason why we're called Real Plans is because it's real plans. It's pragmatic. It's real life, real food. And it's also real food. So we're ignoring the last 60 years of processed food and trying to give you recipes so that you can make food from ingredients you can pronounce. Now then, I'm going to switch gears at this point, unless, Katie, you think that there's something major that I'm missing in terms of general overview of real plans, or shall I embark upon some top tips? What do you think?
No, I think the tips are why we're all here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your patience. For those of you who already know all about real plans and want to get into it. So I've got a little list here. For number one, every recipe has a little thumb here. You can either say, don't ever schedule this in my plan. That's what the down. It's like Caesar in Rome here. No. And then there's the thumb here. What that does is that consistently, it does various things. First of all, it puts that recipe, if you have criteria here set up, it'll always put that recipe to the top. Because if you think about it, you probably have, I don't know, 8 to 10 recipes that you cook in rotation, and then there's like another 10 that you cook every now and then there's whatever, right? But what this does is this puts your favorite recipes always to the top. And the other thing that's pretty cool about favorite recipes is you can say in the settings here, remember I was talking about a schedule? You can have a meal plan based on things that you like. So here I can say every Friday night. In the filters here, where I'm getting really specific, I want to make sure that I have a favorite recipe. And that's it. So I'm saying every Friday night, I am now going to get a recipe that I've already said that I like. Now, if we run out of favorite recipes or what have you, we're going to still kind of put in our own thing. But this is a very wonderful way of having real plans create familiar meal plans for you. So that's kind of the first top tip. The liking of recipes actually really helps a lot. Katie?
And I was going to add that it also makes it schedule more frequently, just if you don't want to do any advanced scheduling. So be sure to get in there. And if you don't like something, nobody is sitting around crying. So we also want your dislikes. That will keep them from scheduling. That way you can really consider it like Spotify. Treat it as your own, like, dislike, and it'll play it accordingly.
Exactly. Like we by personalizing meal plans, it's going to become more and more like a meal plan that you can use. By the way, if you hear any noises in the background, it's either a kid or a dog, because we're in a pandemic. My kids are wandering around the whole time, and this is just real life, folks, as is real plans. Okay, but I've told them to be quiet for the next half an hour. Hopefully they will. Okay, next one. So you can also change things up in here so that don't be afraid to go back into here on a regular basis and change the scheduling around so that what you're trying to do is to go in here on to hone the meal plans, to make sure that it really is a good starting point from which you might make some minor changes, or major ones, but we're trying to give you the best possible inspired meal plan. That thing that Katie, when you and I are kind of working together and starting an email from scratch to try and help people is one thing. You're like, but it's quite another when you send me an email and go, hey, can you proofread this? I'm all over the editing then. I'm like, oh, can't believe you put that sentence in. Oh, and add that one. Oh, that's good. And so that's what we're doing with a meal plan. Rather than you having a blank plan starting from scratch, we're going, look, check this out. What do you think? And from there you can go, oh, can't believe I did that. Oh, but this is, and then it's a starting point. So this scheduling here, do it often. And when you click save, this is a very key part to this whole thing. So this says just overwrite my entire plan, just have at it. But maybe you're in the middle of the current week. You've already shopped it. You've already done your thing. This is saying just update my future plans from now on. So that means that the next time you look at, the following week, it's now adhering to your new schedule, and you're able to do what you want to do. Now then, let's go back. Oh, we've already talked about scheduled items. So this is the one where I'll go into it a bit deeper. This is where you add ingredients. Earlier on, I said I always like almond butter. Almond butter like this. You can add it, and you can say, okay, buy this every week. Boom, add it. Okay. This is now going to appear on my list every single week. And by doing that, it means that from now on, whenever my meal plan comes up, no matter what's on my recipe, up comes the almond butter to make sure that I've got it. So if I go to like the following week now, so now it's creating the meal plan. See what I did here? I just clicked this little plus sign so I can look at the following week. Kind of a slightly weird way of doing it. But what it's doing is it's saying, okay, look, buy this every week. There's my almond butter inside the jarred goods. So now this doesn't mean that you then have to hoard almond butter every week. But what it means is it's like a prompt. And so what I do is I have all the basic things that I like to make sure. Remember that mental check that you have of, do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have this? Do I have that? And it might be the stuff you make sandwiches with, or the stuff that you have as snacks that you want to have every week, and make sure you have on hand. You go around with your phone, checking it off, like walking around the kitchen going, all right, yeah, I already got some almond butter. Because a lot of us suffer from amnesia, I think, when you get to the store. There's all those dizzying lights and all those thousands of companies wanting you to buy their product. And then when you go, do I have almond butter? You hedge your bets and go, probably don't, I'll get it anyway. And then you get home and then you put it behind the fourth pot of almond butter because you completely forgot that you actually have a whole stack. This prevents that, saves you money, and makes sure that you're managing your inventory levels of those things while you're in the store and you know what's going on.
One tip I like too while we're in the shopping list, this one's not on your list. So some people shop for different categories at different places. Or for example, if you always get your meat from a meat supplier, you can actually click into the category, like if you wanted to click meat and seafood. Yeah. And you can change what store it goes to. So that way you can organize and make sure that you have everything in the right store.
Yeah, and you can go to manage shops here, and then you can make shops. And decide who's Whole Foods 1. That's a weird name. Save that. So you basically can manage your shops like that. And then what happens is that then you can shop according to, what shop you're going to, basically. It's kind of cool. All right, moving on. Let's go into these advanced filters because there's a few things around here. There's a few things that we've never really talked about on the webinar when we're talking about this. So I've gone into settings, the cog, my meal plan, and I'm going down to this customized scheduling. All right. And all of this available on your mobile too. So here's some interesting things to talk about advanced filter. Did you know, for example, should be like a pop quiz, shouldn't it? On a Tuesday night, you can sort things by any of these tags. And one of them that a lot of people actually do, we've noticed, is they pick cuisine as a thing. So it's like round the world with real plans. And what you can do is you can say, I want to have, Latin night.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. And what this does is you've got this available recipes, right? So before it was higher than that, but it shows you, okay, 49 different recipes are going to schedule on that night, so you can do that. That's pretty cool. Another one is portion sizes. So let's say this one here, I've got on Friday, I've got my liked recipes, but this is when I invite everybody around. I invite the whole village around to my house. And it's a big humdinger of a hoedown. I can do my thing. You can change the portion size here. I don't know. Let's go crazy. 16 portions of that recipe.
Don't you miss having big dinners?
I know. It's awkward. I'm trying to figure out at what point it's appropriate to have socially distanced dinners. You know what I mean? Like another family on the other side of the deck and wiping down wine glasses and handing back and forth. I don't know. The pandemic is just crazy. Anyway, okay, moving on. So here's another one. If you have, so let me back out of this a little bit before I go there. So if I go to, I've got something in my cart. I'm gonna remove them. Here we go. Boom, boom. Okay. I've got nothing in my cart now. But I get this little golden crown over here. Now, the whole purpose of this, and we're about to rejig this, aren't we, Katie? We're going to put all the prices in here because it's kind of a bit sucky that we don't have the prices of what all these are. But we're going to fix it. Just so you know, Real Plans is always a work in progress. Never perfect. We're always trying to make it better. So whatever you see today, you can be guaranteed in a month's time is going to slightly shift for the better based on your feedback. Anyway, in here we have a bunch of, well-known recipe contributors who put their recipes into Real Plans, and we license those recipes, and we've tagged them and make sure the algorithm can pull them up. Nom Nom Paleo is one of my favorites, Michelle Tam, and you can add them to your cart like so, and then you purchase a subscription. This is $12 for an entire year of access to her recipes. And she and us work really hard to get them all in to make them all work and all that kind of stuff. Now, why am I showing you that? Back to the main plot here, which is top tips. I'm going down to the customized scheduling. In here, in my recipe, maybe the liked one isn't the right thing to do here. I'm going to put any. But you can have something called origin. Now, if you are subscribed, here I'm subscribed to Whole30, so I can pull a Whole30 recipe. You may even want to just have one of your own recipes that you imported. How about that?
And I really like that tip because if you have kids, we all know how picky they are. So I import ones I know they are going to like or they already like. And I make sure I schedule a couple of those each week. So that way when I schedule something a little bit on the edge, like Brussels sprouts, I've already given them their favorite dish that week and they'll maybe try my Brussels sprouts.
I had a whole conversation today with someone about picky kids and what that's all about. And we've had hundreds, no, maybe 1,000, maybe over 7 years, 1,000 people go, oh, I don't know what to do with my picky kids and all that kind of stuff. Here's exactly what we're talking about. Look, you can just say, give me something that is kid-friendly here. You can just put kids in there. Boom. It's really straightforward. And then now you're always going to have like a kid-friendly Friday night thing. And you could make these all kids if you want to. You can really go to town with this kind of stuff. And all of these tags, if you want to know what that means, what do we mean by, those 102, entrees or whatever? You can always, like, in the plan itself, I'm going back, let's go to recipe box here. This is another version of looking at all the recipes. Instead of looking at the planner with the recipe on the left-hand side, you can look at a really nice big list here.
This will be perfect. Someone would also, now that we mentioned importing recipes, they want to know how, so we can show them while we're in here.
Here's another top tip. Before you run a webinar for Real Plans, always eat beforehand. So you sit here salivating over all the food. Luckily, I had a salad just before, so I'm like calmed down a little bit. But I was just saying, this looks pretty good, doesn't it? Now, do you notice how I've got? If I click on this, look at all my thumbed up stuff. See, thumbed up stuff. It always goes to the top. Okay, so look, if I go down to tags, show all the tags here, and go kid friendly. This is what we mean by kid friendly. And then you can still filter down again and say, show me all the entrees. And then show me all the stuff that's got chicken in them. Kid friendly chicken zucchini fritters. You'd think, we're trying to inspire you to think about, different ways of approaching, like taking the same recipes and stuff. These are amazing. My kids will down these. My kids we had this term, I think, years ago, like junk food makeover or something like that. And it was this idea of having comfort food, but it's made over with like butter instead of high fructose corn syrup or, whatever. What you can buy in the store, in the middle of the store, you can make actually with real food and make it really delicious. And your kids are going to want to have it because it's got a bunch of fat in it and it's good sea salt and whatever else. And it's going to hit all the right things and is going to provide nutrition for them. So there's lots of ways of going through here and making sure that everything is just going to work for you. And so that's what those advanced settings are all about. Now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to go and talk about something that we...
You ran away from importing a recipe real quick. Since we were on that topic.
Yeah, sure thing. What do you mean I can import recipes into Real Plans? Well, many weekends and evenings and everything else was spent building an import tool for you guys. And here it is. I hope, well, I don't hope. I just hope that people, get into Real Plans. So I always love when subscribers are all excited about it because we spent so much time doing this stuff and it really works well. You can either manually import a recipe like that. So
this is perfect for like family favorites.
Yeah, you put in your family favorites and put in, and here's another thing. If you, after like, I don't know, 3 years of using Real Plans or something like that, you go, I got this. We give you a free Real Plans account with Recipe Box. You can't schedule and stuff, but you still have Recipe Box with all of your imported recipes in it. So it's a safe place to put your imported recipes. We're not like you put all your content in and then we take it away from you. I mean, you can also cancel your account completely and that will never have nothing to do with us. But what we wanted to do is want to allay your fears that you're kind of putting some labor into Real Plans and being able to, keep your recipes. Yes, you can do that. And no, you can't share recipes with other people, if that's the next thought in your head, because we're always wanting to manage licensing. So, you can always print something out and send it to someone. But if you download, let's say, a non-paleo recipe off our website and then start sharing it, we're kind of aggrandizing, we're making our software better because of someone else's content that we have got no licensing for. So we're kind of careful about that. We don't want people to share other people's content. You see what I mean? So that's where we come from on that. We're trying to make sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's. So you can just basically put a URL in here and you can import a recipe. And there's a whole, look, if you go to the support button here, either you can go down to support here and then we attempt to answer your question, and then you can email us and do that. But if you go here, I recently updated, well, Katie told me that I did, and so I did it. Right, Katie? Import your own recipes into Real Plans here. There's a nice little video there where I go at a slower pace, and you can just watch me kind of import a recipe from a website. And it's really cool. So that's that. All right, back to the plan, Katie?
Back to the plan.
Okay, so here's something I wanted to show you. There's this thing called My Pantry. Now, perhaps you're in a state where you're doing all of this, but you want to save some money, or you don't even want to go to the store or whatever, and you just want to see what you can already make based on the ingredients you already have in your pantry/kitchen. You go here, look. And into there, you put in what you already have in the deep freeze and what have you. And then we show you what recipes you can already make down there. I can already make these things. And then when you open it up, now I have an Instant Pot. So in my equipment settings, I've said I've got a pressure cooker, so that's why I'm getting this Instant Pot carnitas. Then here, from the whole 31. That's good. All right, so in here, this is saying, yeah, you said you had a roast in the pantry, you see? So I'm going to bring that in. And so what you can do is you can bring this across into the plan, because this is now a pantry recipe. I can already make this because I've got a roast. And then we ask you a question to manage your pantry. So do you have multiple roasts sitting there waiting to be made into Instant Pot carnitas? Or do you only have one? If you only have one, you say, all right, check the pantry ingredients you will no longer have after cooking. I'm going to click that off. So now what I've done is I've changed the pantry ingredients here. I've changed the pantry. I no longer have roast checked off in here because I knew I was going to run out after making this recipe this week. But you can go through and you can say, yeah, I got some eggs. And in here, we're only going to show you ingredients that are within your diet. So you couldn't check off broccoli if you wanted to, because you told us you don't even want broccoli in your meal plan. Now, by accident, while we were building this pantry thing, this little thing came up. Want to know the next most important ingredients to add to your pantry to unlock more recipes? Absolutely. Click on there. You need some cooking oil. You need some salmon. What about a lemon? Do you have any lemons? Now, if you go through there and go, well, of course I've got some cooking oil. Yeah, I forgot to check on that. And then let's go, 8 available recipes. That's good. My neighbor, and I'm saying this because it's true, but my neighbor across the street does have a lemon tree. So I forget that I need to click off lemon as well. So here's all my fruits, lemon. 10 more available recipes. Now you can keep going like this, which is really fun. Now what? Okay, oh yeah, the salmon, potatoes. Yeah, I got etc., etc. And what we're doing is we're saying, hey, it'd be really useful if you had these. And so it's kind of like a bit of a training thing of these are the generalized things. You don't have any broth or stock. These are the generalized ingredients that if you have broth or stock, suddenly a bunch of soups become available. What do you need for a soup? Carrot, stock, and then ginger. Ginger carrot soup is made up of ginger, garlic, carrot, and some stock. Suddenly this whole world opens up of the recipes that you can already make. So that works pretty good. All right, I'm looking at my little list here. You know what? I think Katie, you're on mute. Yeah.
There I go. I was going to say we're at 1:30, so we might have to save a few for the next time.
It's tantalizing. You mean like an episode where you leave it on a cliffhanger?
Yep.
Like Roadrunner, you leave it on a cliffhanger and then everyone's like, tune in next week, folks, to find out more top tips. That's a great idea. Let's be drama.
I like it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. That was I hope that was a useful session for you. And also to have some human interaction in this crazy times where everyone's socially distanced and everything else. Just so you know, there are a bunch of humans working in the background, pedaling on our bikes, making Real Plans what it is today and what it will be in the future. So keep your feedback rolling in, keep joining in these webinars, and hopefully we can support you in your quest for meal planning nirvana. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Take care.
Catch y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.